brisket holder out of the way.
There's something about the older generation and putting dough in the fridge overnight. I think it's a matter of always having something ready to bake. So they would make it, put it in the fridge, and then if someone popped in, ready to roll.
Yeah.
Like literally.
Easy.
All right, so I'm going to cut this half into 3. I'm just going to use 1/3 of it. And I'm going to roll one batch so you can see how to roll it. That's really the thing of this recipe that you'd want to watch. Making the dough's easy, put it in the food processor, do it in a bowl. This is the harder part. Not harder, but just something I'd like you to see. So I've got a piece of baking paper. I'm going to put a little bit of flour on the bench. I've got my rolling pin, which I'm always going to flour. And if it's a hot day, like it is today in Sydney and it's humid, you'll find you'll need a little bit more flour, but that's okay. All right, so I'm going to roll it out. And I want it to be a rectangle about 20 by 30 centimetres, which is about A4 paper-ish. I don't know about you, but I use A4 paper as a size reference for so many things. So we're going to roll it out. And it's a really nice dough, easy to roll. If you think I'm schwitzing, it's because the humidity in here must be like 95%.
There's a lot of hairspray in here today.
So we're rolling it out. These aren't your traditional rogala, I should tell you. They are a different version, and anyone can look up rogala online and find the recipes that they serve in the New York delis, but this one is different, and this one is really, really fantastic. And I'm very happy to share this recipe with you. You can also find the recipe in our second book, The Feast Goes On. If you've got the book, it's right there. Otherwise, Dunera will share it. So I want a rectangle-ish, okay? It doesn't have to be exactly a rectangle, but let's pretend, for the sake of the show, that this is a rectangle.
I think that looks like an A4 page.
Okay, I think so too.
Yeah.
Thanks for the support, Nicky. Now, what we're going to put in here, 4 ingredients for the filling. We've got Nutella or any chocolate hazelnut spread that you like, apricot jam, which I think is really one of those ingredients in so much Eastern European baking, some crushed walnuts, which I've already done, and some sultanas. What I love to use instead of sultanas is that mixed dried fruit that you get in the supermarket, which is like chopped apricots and peaches and raisins. That's really good in here. So I'm going to put a spoon of this in here, spoon of jam, spoon of Nutella, and can I get you, please, to just give it a really good mix together. Use all your might to do that. And then we're going to smear that mixture, and that's my technical term that I use all the time, over the pastry. And this offset palette knife is really helpful, but any knife or spatula will do. What I find that if you try to just do the jam on its own and the Nutella on its own, it breaks the pastry because they're too sticky, but mixed together, they work really well. Now, you've encountered some lumps, and you know what's interesting? I was thinking about the lumps yesterday as I made a batch. They're actually big chunks of apricot in the jam, and my advice to you is to eat them. They're really delicious. You don't want them in your rogala, okay? So you'll never get rid of it. It's a piece of apricot. So can you just put like a big spoon of that on there? Thank you. It's so nice having such a talented assistant.
Thank you.
Thanks, perfect. Yeah. Now I'm going to use this, and I'm just going to smear like this all over. And you don't want it too thick because, as I tend to do often, is overfill things. You know, if you're generous in your cooking, you do that. And what happens is you bake it and everything comes out the side. So don't overdo it. I think this is probably the right amount. So we don't need any more. And I'm just smearing it from edge to edge across the whole thing. And you see this little lump here, I'm going to get rid of that. And if I was home in my kitchen alone, I would pop that in my mouth because it's really yum. It's like that chewy apricot-y thing. All right, so how's that? Happy with that?
Yep, looks good.
All right, so let's take this over here. All right, could you please sprinkle walnuts all over it? Just go for it. And it's up to you how many walnuts you want, if you like it really, really walnutty or not. Don't want too big a pieces of walnut because then they'll split when you bake them, but that's not bad either. I love rustic. Perfect. Okay, now I'm putting some sultanas, where you put your dried fruit. How is the pastry spelt, please? It's spelt rogala, R-O-G-A-L-A. Okay, so I've put sultanas and I've put walnuts on top of the Nutella and the apricot jam. It's someone said, is it a stuffed monkey? It's very similar to a stuffed monkey, actually, if not identical. Okay, so now I'm going to roll it up. You can see I'll start from this side, and it's very easy dough to work with. And I'm just rolling it up into a log. Always, like any rolling pastry, you want the seam side down, otherwise it's going to split open. And now is the part that over the years of making this, I think that we've nailed. Okay, so what you need is a brush, a knife, something to bake it on. I'm just using this with a piece of baking paper. And I've got my log there, which you can see. You can trim off the edges, the ends, but to be honest, they're the cook's treat. So I would leave them on for the moment, but I'm going to cut it in half because it makes it easier to work with. I've got some egg white in here. The recipe uses yolks only, so you've actually got leftover whites. So this is what you do with one of them. Just going to whisk it really lightly, just to get rid of the stringiness. I'm going to brush it on top. So this is just egg white. On top of it like this.
So we're not wasting anything, everything's...
Exactly. And then there'll be 2 egg whites that you won't have used, but then you'll go make meringues.
Oh,
or pavlova,
perfect.
or whatever, something like that. Then I take a plate of white sugar, and it's got to be white sugar because you want to see the grains. You don't want it to dissolve.
Yep.
Spread out. Take 1 piece of the made pastry and press it into the white sugar onto the baking tray. Repeat with the other half onto the baking tray. It's so much easier to do it like that rather than in little bits. And then on the baking tray, we sort of want to score it, a small knife's easier, where we're going to cut them when they're cooked into pieces. So I'm going to like trim off the edge, but I'm not going all the way through because if you cut them, separate them, the filling does tend to come out. You'll see the ones I made earlier. So I'm just going to do this.
Me too.
It does, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm going to try to make them a bit more perfect. That's it. So that is the rogala ready to go into the oven. Like that, 180 degrees regular oven, and it's going to go in for about 30 minutes until they're golden and cooked through. And you'll see later they're really good.
Thank you. So,
I'm here for the wedding.
it's the special guest. Are we going to sing something?
Well, at some point I gather.
Or am I
this is
getting
saying-
married?
I just got here and she's. You're getting married. Congratulations. On the
Thank
apron's
you.
off. Lisa,
Yeah, why not?
when do I get an apron?
It's
I've
the
been on
honeymoon.
your show a few times now and you haven't let me graduate to apron status.
Oh, one day soon, Ilan. One day soon.
You just want me to sing.
I just love you for your singing. I'm sorry. I've got to say it.
Oh, she only wants you for
Also,
one thing.
did I hear Nutella? What's over here?
There
Can I
is
just have a
Nutella.
look? Was this mixed by Nicky Kurta?
Yes.
What do we have in here?
Is this like a vision into our future together?
Now Lisa only lets me do this once a show. Oh,
Is it good?
it's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess we better sing something. Is everyone having a good time out there? I like someone. Oh yeah, how is the pastry spelt? I like that. Well, I know I heard you spell it, but I thought, is that a play on words? That's what I thought. Like spelt, you know. Anyway,
yes, very
what else we have, guys? Bring in your questions. Why not use full egg for brushing?
Because you've got the leftover whites from the pastry.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it does give a different texture, a different look actually.
Okay, great. What's the difference of look?
It's whiter, it doesn't have that yellow glaze that a full egg or a yolk would have.
Makes sense, makes sense. You've got all the answers, Lisa. All right, well, I was thinking we'd do one of our old favourites, huh?
Yeah, I'd like that.
Yeah, and feel free at home to dance away in your kitchen if you're there, just while it's all cooking. But yeah, here we go, let's do this.
Is this our first dance?
This is our first dance.
Oh.
Heaven, I'm in heaven, and my heart beats so that I can hardly speak, and I seem to find the happiness I see when we're out together, dancing cheek to cheek.
Heaven, I'm in heaven, and the cares that hung around me through the week seem to vanish like a gambler's lucky streak. When we're out together, dancing cheek to
enjoy it as much as dancing cheek to cheek.
Oh, I love to climb a mountain or a river or a creek, but I don't enjoy it half as much as dancing cheek to cheek. Dance with me. I want my arms about you. The charms about you will carry
through
heaven.
Actually, we're in Lisa's kitchen. Oh,
I'm in heaven.
Lisa's kitchen.
Yep. And my heart beats so that I can hardly speak. And I seem to find the happiness I see when we're out together dancing cheek to cheek. Cheek to cheek. Come and dance with us, Lisa. Cheek to cheek. Cheek to cheek. Aww.
Very sorry, boys.
I think we need to work on our dancing.
Yeah, we can always work in our
I
dancing.
think now we're ready for some proper food.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Let's
Gee, it
get
does
this-
look proper.
Let's get this show on the road. I think we're ready.
You're never too early for brisket.
And I agree with that,
Yeah.
actually.
Wow.
This is to show you that shortcuts are okay. You don't have to make everything from scratch all the time. So this is a pastrami sandwich,
Oh, thank you.
my Monday morning cooking club version of a pastrami sandwich, which uses, and I know it's very daggy in the plastic bag, but I wanted to show you. So this is bought as it is from Field to Fork Butcher, which is just up the road here for Sydney people. And it's called hot beef or hot pastrami. Comes in the Cryovac bag, you heat it in the bag, and it is the most delicious thing. I mean, who's going to make their own pastrami, seriously? Well, some
Not
people
me.
might. If you do want to make your own, funnily enough, there is a recipe in our first book,
Yes.
Monday Morning Cooking Club, for salt beef, which is a matter of getting a pickled corn brisket and boiling it with spices and herbs for a couple of hours till it's soft. If you're in Melbourne, I think the recommendation is to head to Miss Rubin. She has beautiful pastrami as well. So anyway,
Hey, Melbourne.
today
By
we
the
use
way.
this, yeah.
Say
Hey
hi.
Melbourne, and yeah, well done Melbourne. I think we should be
They're
give a
out.
big, like round of
Yeah,
applause.
I mean, I think a little later on in the show we should have a drink to Melbourne.
I think
right?
so too.
Yeah.
Bloody
Yeah.
Melbourne.
A Bloody Mary for Bloody Melbourne.
Bloody Melbourne. Bloody. Yep.
So I'm going to cut it open, and I just wanted to show you now how it's done. There is still juice in it, but it is the most tender, beautiful meat, and it's wonderful in a sandwich. So I'm just going to take a little bit out for our sandwich. Today we're also using rye bread, because a pastrami on rye obviously needs rye bread. And this is a rye bread that I bought from Brooklyn Boy Bagels.
It looks great.
In Melbourne, I'm sure you'll find a fantastic rye somewhere, and anywhere else, I'm sure you'll find a fantastic German rye or dark rye with caraway is fantastic too.
What makes it rye bread, by the way, as
Rye
opposed to
flour.
sourdough?
Rye
Okay.
flour. And often caraway. This one I don't think has caraway, but we'll see when we open it. But the thing-
Someone's asked, sorry, which book is the recipe?
Okay, so the recipe for the salt beef is in the first book, Monday Morning Cooking Club, The Food, The Stories, The Sisterhood. But let's talk coleslaw, because coleslaw is something that we can all make at home. And this is a recipe for original New York deli coleslaw. You know, you go to a deli in New York, many of us have been lucky enough to go.
Katz's.
Have you
Is
been?
it Katz's
To
still?
Katz's.
Yes.
And you always get a coleslaw, you always get a pickle, and they have a similar flavour, which I love. And I've got to say this one, it also tastes a little bit like KFC coleslaw. I don't know if that's a good thing to say or not, but it actually does. So if you're a KFC coleslaw fan, you'll love it. This recipe actually comes from a New York lady, and it is in our third book. And it's so easy to make. I made it yesterday because you need to make it a day ahead. And it just smells like New York deli to me.
So
it
good.
really does. And it's in this daggy container, and I'll show you why in a minute, because that's what you're going to make it in. So you need a container. A Tupperware is fabulous, and cabbage, and you're going to get the quantity. So I've got shredded white cabbage. This is not Savoy cabbage, it is not Chinese cabbage, this is green cabbage or white cabbage, and that's what we're using for this recipe. I think it holds, it's not as watery as other cabbages that you might choose. And now we're going to add to the cabbage some grated onion. Sorry, let's start again. Grated carrot.
Yep.
I was just testing if anyone was watching, and I heard sighs from the people around me. It's not an onion. A grated onion. So note the onion is grated and not sliced. Grated onion.
So that it mixes in.
Yeah, exactly. And these are all part of the dressing. So I'm just going to give this a mix. I won't let you. I don't want you to get your hand all dirty. Really.
That's okay.
Do you want
I'm
it?
just going to wipe them on later.
So I just find doing it with hand easy because you can just get in there and mix it, okay? So I'm trying to use my fingers to make sure the onion is well dispersed in the cabbage, getting a little bit everywhere, but you'll see it shrinks and this container will be plenty big enough. Okay, so that's mixed nicely. Now, let's do the dressing. I'm happy if you'd like to put everything in as I tell everyone what's in it. Okay, so we're gonna start with the white vinegar. So we've got white vinegar into the jug. We're gonna actually mix it in the jug. I've got water, sugar, salt, and of course, mayonnaise.
You can't have coleslaw without
Exactly, you
mayonnaise.
can't. Although I do like, I don't know about you guys out there, but I do like coleslaw. We eat a lot of cabbage in this house with just lemon juice and olive oil and lots of salt and pepper.
Yeah.
And mixed really well with your hands, almost massage it in. It's really nice. And a bit more fresh.
Yeah.
And perhaps more healthy than this version. And then
It's
just
cholesterol-free mayonnaise.
exactly. That's exactly right. But occasionally mayo is okay. I think we can have mayo from time to time. So we're going to give that a mix because we want to get rid of all the lumps if we can. And a whisk would have been a better choice of implement here, but our whisk is busy with the egg whites at the moment. Okay. I am actually going to get a whisk because it's just too lumpy, isn't it? Can I
bit
find
lumpy.
it? No, I can't
The
find
whisk
it.
was with the rogala.
Yeah, okay, we've lost the whisk, so we'll just go
Okay.
back. I'm going to go with a fork now.
Yeah. Not everyone has a whisk at home, I
No,
guess.
fork's
so
fine,
fork will
okay.
do.
And then it's just a matter of pouring.
Sarita found it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Whisk's much better. Okay. Oops, please ask any cooking questions as we go. I'm very happy to answer. And then it's just a matter of pouring it on top. Again, mixing it with your hands. It's the best implement you have. It's really better than a spoon for this because you can get everything in there. You can see I'm really getting in there well, and then put the lid on and I will go wash my hands.
Yep.
And would you mind giving that a shake?
I can do
Make-
that.
Yeah, make sure the lid's
A
on.
bit of exercise for the bingo wings.
That's it. Oh.
Did I
There
make
you
a
go.
big mess? It's a
That's
good thing
right,
I've got the
I
apron on.
think it's a really good thing. So that's it. Shake it, get the dressing all over yourself. It's perfect.
Thank
That's why
you.
we have aprons.
Yep.
Then that goes in the fridge overnight, and depending on the size of your container or how much cabbage you're using, you might want to turn it over in the fridge from time to time. Just make sure the lid is on properly. This container is the problem, not you.
Thanks.
See, it's a bit warped. So that is the cabbage, and now let's make the sandwich. I'm very excited to do this sandwich. I just need to clean up this mess here now.
Yeah, thank you.
I didn't mean the mess you made, I mean the mess that I made. I did all that, okay? That was me.
We were both responsible, I think, for
Yeah,
this
I need
one.
to share that.
Yeah.
So we have pastrami, homemade or bought. We have coleslaw that I made yesterday. It's been in the fridge overnight. And we have this beautiful rye from Brooklyn Boy. And of course, to finish it off, we have some pickles. You can make your own, but they make such good ones there. This brand's fantastic. I know it's not the ABC, so I can't spruik brands. And we're not sponsored, but these McClaw's pickles are really good. Have you tasted? Very good.
They're very
And they have a spicy one and a not spicy one, but we'll put that on the plate to garnish in a minute. And let's cut the bread.
They're a bit crunchier, I think.
Yeah, they are. And they've got that real New York deli flavour that when you buy, like my family love the Israeli dill pickles in the can.
Yeah.
Such a different flavour.
Yeah.
This is like, we're going to be in New York in a minute, sitting at the deli in my kitchen, eating a pastrami sandwich.
And I love that there's always a pickle on the side of the sandwich.
Oh, it does have caraway. Takes me back to Melbourne in the 70s. Have a smell of that.
Do you remember Schorsch Bakery?
I don't.
There was a Hungarian bakery.
In Sydney?
In Sydney, yeah. And they used to have a rye bread with caraway seed. Does anyone remember that?
Oh, this is so good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's cut this. I think the bread doesn't need to be too thick for this sandwich. We want the pastrami to be thick rather than the bread. I think that's the idea of this New York deli sandwich.
I do remember going to Katz's Deli and having a pastrami sandwich,
Yeah.
and it was about that much.
You can't even take a
No.
bite. It's so huge. Exactly. So this is that what we're aiming for today?
Oh,
All right, so bread. How far will we go is the question.
Are we going to share or are we going to do individual portions?
I think we'll make one super duper and then we'll cut it in half.
Sounds
Let's think
good.
of that plan. Okay, so I'm going to pile it up. I think we've got to do it in the deli style.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, we are at the Dunera Deli after all. The brand of the pickles is McClure's, and I bought the pastrami. It's called hot beef or hot brisket at Field to Fork Butcher in Sydney. Okay, so
Someone's asked, where's the schmaltz?
yeah, that's a good point actually. I was thinking, what should we smear on the bread? And I think that's exactly what we need, some Jenny schmaltz. Anyway, okay, you can see that sandwich. Let's put some slaw on top. Yum, it's already looking fabulous. I'm very excited to eat this. I don't know about you, Nikki, but
I'm pretty excited. This
I
is
think
going to
that's
be my
good.
breakfast.
what do we think of that so far? So good? I think so.
Yum.
Put this on top. You need a very, very good, strong knife for this. Let's go. Just have a look at that. Like, just have a look at that. Can't say that's not a mighty fine sandwich.
That looks
I'm going
amazing.
to put that like that. Let's just do a little.
Oh.
Let's just do a little
Make it-
demo plate with
Yeah.
the. Well, how did we do it? I can't even remember. Do they put two on top? No, that's way too
Oh.
complicated.
But then
Let's
they
get a
would put
pickle.
one of those-
Yeah, they would.
Yeah.
They would. Okay, now we need this pickle right here. I can see a nice long one. Pickle for you.
These look so good.
Pickle for me. Get this mess out of the way. All it out of the way. Get the coleslaw out of the way so that we can now see that we are at the Dunera Deli, and I am with the marvellous Miss Kurta,
Thank you.
and we're going to try the pastrami sandwich. I would like to know who's going out now to get some pastrami and some rye. Who's hungry now after making this? I mean, seriously, this is a mighty fine sandwich, and I'm sort of getting used to eating on Zoom. I think it's now part of my life, is that I eat in front
Oh,
of
in
people
front of
on
other
Zoom.
people?
But you know what? And I feel bad because you can't eat it, and you haven't made it, and you don't have it now, and we do. So
Have you managed to make it look pretty when
Do
you
you
eat on camera?
no, it's really
No,
hard.
it's
I
hard.
can't do that at all. Yes. Oh, okay. So Yaffa wants mustard in there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I quite like it plain. Would you want your mustard? Or are you happy with it?
I
Just
think I'm
like this?
okay now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Next time mustard.
That's a good
That's
idea.
a good idea.
And someone does know that bakery. There you go, Regina.
Oh,
Was
Seuss
I-
Bakery. Yes, I do
Sus-
actually know
Sorry,
it.
I'm Hungarian, so.
You probably
Shush.
you probably pronounced it properly. Yeah. Okay. So here's to the sandwich, and we're going to have a bite just to check it's okay. So good.
Can I move in?
Oh my god.
Thanks.
Right, all of you watching, I just want to tell you, you can have this for dinner tonight. You're just going to get your pastrami, get your bread, and make your coleslaw. Maybe tomorrow is probably easier. Please do it, and please let Dunera know how much you love it. Send photos; they'll repost on their Instagram. It's so delicious. This brisket is
It's amazing.
to die for. So I'm going to move over there and finish the sandwich, and I think it might be time for another song. What do you think? Or are you going to give up? And Ilan, it might just be
Going
you.
home.
No, I want to hear Nicky sing.
Okay.
Talking about marvellous Miss Kurta, you're doing shows, aren't you?
I
mean,
am.
Yeah, tell us about what you're doing.
So I'm doing a couple of shows in December, not long now, next week.
Yeah,
at
that's
the Camelot Lounge.
sold out they are. I heard.
They are sold out, so I will put some more on soon. But I'm doing so. You love the food in the Marvellous Mrs. Maisel, and I love the music. So during the first lockdown, I was in Melbourne, and I watched every season of the Marvellous Mrs.
How
Maisel.
good.
Yeah. So I love the music so much, and I thought, all right, well, how can I start working again and do something I've really loved? And I
It's
put
an
together
incredible
this
idea.
show.
I love it. I love it.
So it's basically, I'm singing in a little bit of Yiddish. There's some Andrews sisters,
Do you
jazz
want to try one later on
standards.
like that?
Yes.
Yes.
I think
Let's
that's
do
a
a
good
bit of Yiddish
idea.
later on. Any Yiddish speakers out there? I hope not. My Yiddish pronunciation is shocking.
I'm going to save this for you for later.
Yes, thank you. Please.
I might grab a pickle later too.
Yeah.
And some coleslaw. Looks good.
You
Nicky.
can't share my sandwich.
No, I can't show you something.
Neither can you.
Uh,
It's so good.
Lisa, I might ask you for a bit of a twirl while Nicky sings here.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to present again it is my greatest pleasure to ask the marvellous Miss Kurta to sing us a song. Does everyone want to hear one more out there? I say I'm feeling a little kind of ballady. I'd like to hear a soft song. Soft or heartbreaking.
Oh, my mum's just said that the rye bread that my grandfather liked came from a bakery in Bronte. That's true. In Charing Cross, is that right? Yeah, does
Soon
anyone
find
remember
out.
that one? Anyway, I'm going to sing a song for you.
What you got there?
You'll see.
Now you say you're lonely. You cried the whole night through. Well, you can cry me a river. Cry me a river. I cried a river over you. Now you say you're sorry for being so untrue. Well, you can cry me a river. Cry me a river. I cried a river over you. You drove me, nearly drove me out of my head, while you never shed a tear. I remember all that you said. Told me love was too plebeian. Told me you were through with me, and now you say you love me. Well, just to prove you do, come on and cry me a river. Cry me a river. I cried a river over you. I cried a river over you. I cried a river over you. I cried a river over you.
Bravo, bravo. It's okay. It's going to be all right.
I have the perfect
Oh,
antidote
you've got the remedy.
the remedy to the tears.
To the tears, the heartache.
We cannot do one of these shows without a little drink.
Yes,
I
of
love
course.
that.
Now,
Put
that
the
was
onions away.
beautiful. Your
Thank
voice
you.
just shined. Lisa, was that a nice little dance? Oh,
I loved it. I had
we've
one
never
good
slowed
time.
I
dance on
need
this.
those goggles that you wear.
Oh, I've got them actually, and they might match. Next time.
Oh, who gave the idea to just chop an onion? I love it.
Oh,
All right.
Wow, you guys really have made a mess here.
Well, you know,
For a professional, No, let me do that.
Look.
Let me do that.
it was really my fault with the shaking. I was over enthusiastic, I think.
Rum and
All right.
cola.
So, time for a Bloody Mary.
We're going to do that one in the show.
Yeah, you should do that one
Yeah.
on the show.
Now, I don't know about you
So if
guys.
you're coming, I'm looking forward to seeing you. And if you're not coming, I'll hopefully put some more shows on soon.
You'll have to.
Yeah.
Now that Sydney's opening up, Melbourne's opening up.
Yeah, I'll be coming to Melbourne soon.
Okay.
Ah,
So, let's talk Bloody Mary. For those of you who are Bloody Mary fans, you like it a particular way. I know in our family, Danny, my husband, likes it super spicy
I like
so
it
that
spicy.
I can't even drink it. I like mine really salty, really lemony, and so everyone likes their own. But we're going to make one today just according to taste, and let's see how we go. I'd love your input, guys.
Yeah, totally.
So essential ingredients for a Bloody Mary. Of course, number one, vodka. You need ice. You need some glasses. Long glasses would be great. We're using these middle glasses.
And Grey Goose, for example, I mean, as opposed to, say, Belvedere or something like that.
Whatever you like.
The Goose is great. I
think
spent
the Goose is great.
4 years touring on Grey Goose.
What does that mean exactly?
That means we
He's quite pickled.
enjoyed Grey Goose.
Okay.
No, we would probably down a bottle of Grey Goose before every set. I mean, there were 4 in the band, but we would probably go through a bottle of Grey Goose. Not this size. Oh, no, maybe this size.
And do you still do that?
No.
Those days are gone.
Those days are gone. Well, the consistency of it is gone. Though I could definitely polish off a quarter of this in a night. There's no doubt.
All right, so let's talk Bloody
Anyway.
Mary. So, basic tomato juice. And put it in a jug. And then we're going to start adding all the other condiments that we need. And we're going to start with salt. And I think it needs quite a bit of salt. I'm using I'm using Maldon sea salt, which I think it's worth using a good salt in this one. Sort of probably about a teaspoon, maybe a bit less. Tabasco. You want it spicy?
No, just how you like it, Lisa. I mean, I can always add later.
Let's be generous with the Tabasco.
I don't want to be too tough,
So Tabasco sauce.
because I'm actually not that tough.
Worcestershire.
Yeah, Worcestershire.
That one's a challenge to say sometimes.
Worcestershire. It's harder to spell.
Yes.
Worcestershire is how it's Worcestershire is how it's spelled.
That
But
just
it's
doesn't
Worcestershire.
make sense.
Lots of pepper,
Cool Whip. Worcestershire.
lots of lemon. And I think that's the basic. And what I would do at home is make it without the vodka, just like that. And then I'm going to taste it. Where's those teaspoons?
I mean, it always fascinates me how someone came up with this in the first place. You know, because, I mean, all the ingredients together, they shouldn't really work, but yet there they are.
So to me it needs way more of everything.
Great.
So we're going to just keep going. But we could stand here all day and do this, which we won't, don't worry. Anyone cooking along and making themselves a Bloody Mary now? Hands up. Come on. Someone must be. One person at least. Lots of spice, lots of seasoning is really important. Otherwise it's just a tomato juice.
Do we know where it originated?
We don't, but...
Some
Do
dude
you?
came up with it. No, I don't, but I'm very curious. If someone could Google that, where did Bloody Marys come from? It'd be amazing.
Okay, so that's it. Now, I've kept my sticks of celery in iced water in the fridge. It's a really good way to keep celery and carrots crunchy. Especially, and if you want to be fancy and make a little curl in the top, have you ever done that?
No.
You put 2 slices with a knife down the bottom of the celery like...
It was a
that?
Canadian who invented it.
Thank
From
you.
Nessie Hollander. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Okay, so if you want to do curls at the top, then you just do a few cuts at the top of your celery like that. Put it in the cold water for a few hours and those bits will curl.
Okay, cool.
But I thought we'd have like standard celery today. So let's put our celery
Can I just
sticks
have a
in.
bite?
You've been dying for celery since we
I've
talked
been
about
like
it
for
this morning.
anything.
I know. Okay, celery sticks
Well, you're not
in.
going to eat the brisket, are you?
We
You're
keep
gonna
our
try-
celery, and it's a lot more wasteful, but we keep our celery in silver foil in the fridge, and it just stays crispy forever.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? That's very
Honestly,
interesting.
2
I
weeks
might try
later, it's
that.
still crispy.
Okay, so I'm going to do one more taste. Have we got time for another taste?
Can you guys hear that crunch?
It's getting better. To me, it needs just some more salt. This is how I cook. You know, I can stand here for an hour getting the Bloody Mary right. But then when it's right, I'll be super happy with it. And I hope you will be too. So let's just do a bit more of everything again. The spice could go up one tiny level because you do want a kick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now what I'm going to do is put the vodka in. And, you know, it depends how much vodka you feel like drinking today.
It's 11 a.m.
So let's just...
I didn't drive today.
Okay.
Didn't you?
No.
Not too much. And we're going to mix that through. Now, if I had a bigger jug, I would actually put some ice in the jug.
In the jug first.
And then mix it till it's cold and then strain it through. But I'm scared we're going to overflow. So let's do that. So let's put some ice in the glasses. Which I
Oh,
think
by
will
the
be
way,
lovely.
someone while you were singing
Yes.
said, "Be careful, Nicky."
Oh,
I'm
because I was
trying to-
cutting the onions? Yeah.
Singing and cutting onions probably are not 2 things that should be done together.
Thanks, John.
Although you did it very
Was
well.
that John that said that? Oh, hi John.
All right.
John?
John's come to a bunch of my gigs
Yeah, it's
for
great
many,
to-
many years.
It's great to see some men tuning into these cooking shows as well, you know? Like,
Yeah,
it's just
well-
broadened everything.
John, I think, he's a pastry chef.
I really love Bloody Marys, I've got to say.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about them, but they're such a good brunch thing. But you can add horseradish, you can add pickles. You can add pickle juice. You can go nuts with the flavours, whatever you like.
Is that like
Just
a dirty
to-
Bloody Mary with the
Maybe,
pickle
it'd be
juice?
really
We
nice.
just invented something.
Really nice. Okay.
Be good
So,
for your gut health as well.
I'm sure it would be.
here are our Bloody Marys. One for you with the biggest celery stick.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And what I like about the celery is it gives you something to stir it with.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Harry's New York bar in Paris, 1921, was when and where this was invented, according to Wikipedia.
Okay.
And Roz. She might be
Thank you.
making it up. Oh, no, there
Thank
we
you,
go.
Roz Jason. That's great to know. What do you think?
Oh, it's delicious.
Delicious.
It's incredible.
More spice,
So
more
smooth.
salt,
No.
more lemon. Happy. All right.
More vodka. Sorry, did you say something?
More
Well,
vodka.
that's not bad, actually.
So
Okay.
you can
I
really
love
just
it.
make it to your own taste.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And many options, as I said, and if you want it more spicy, add more spice. But let's see the rogala and let's see how they turn out,
Yeah.
because I want to share it with you. And I know, Ilan, you're going to say I'm messy again.
No,
so
no,
let's
no.
clean up.
I like a mess.
that
I'm all about it.
mess. And let's grab the rogala. Okay, so
Celery.
The more mess, the more fun, right?
Did anyone actually make a Bloody Mary with us?
one person. I think people are now running to their fridge to see if they've got tomato juice.
No.
Because they can see
It's
how
not
much
really a
we're-
staple that you would have at home, though. That's the problem with tomato juice. You've got to go
Yeah.
out and get it. No one has it in home, just generally.
V8 maybe?
Perhaps we
If
should.
you're going to make cabbage rolls,
Oh yes, you
might
need that
have it,
V8
yeah.
juice. Or vegetable soup.
Yes.
Okay, so these are the rogala that have come out of the oven. And you can see that they're joined together still, which is what I like, because if they don't join together, as I said earlier, things spill out the side, which is not ideal. So now that they're stuck together, and I don't want them to be, I'm going to just use my knife to cut where I have scored. You saw that I scored it earlier, and just cut down the middle. And that gives a more, well, maybe you don't like it, it actually gives a more perfect side to the rogala rather than rustic. And it's absolutely up to you.
They're cutting beautifully.
So I would cut those, but
Yum.
the first batch I made yesterday, actually, I didn't do that, and you can see the edges have got things spilling out, which also looks very rustic. So these are the rogala finished, and thank you to Helen Spicer in Melbourne for this amazing recipe. I've just got a question for everybody in Melbourne. I've got to go back to my childhood. My mum used to take me to Balaclava Road, and we used to go to I thought it was a deli or a butcher, because they used to have like vushts and cabanas hanging there. And they used to sell these biscuits that were this shape, maybe a bit bigger, but with jam inside, red jam and poppy seeds. Anyone know where they're from? Has anyone got the recipe? Can you send it to Dunera if you haven't?
Yeah.
Had to ask that.
I
Had
mean,
to
do
ask
they
that.
make them at Scheherazade?
Haven't seen them ever again
Oh, okay.
since like the 70s.
Shame.
And they're very similar. Anyway, these are beautiful, beautiful rogala. And I hope you all go and make a batch because they're so delicious. You
Lisa,
ready to
I
have a
love
try?
how you connect memories with food.
Always.
I just
Yeah.
love it. Very nostalgic.
All right, so who's going to taste one of these babies?
Me.
Go on.
Thank you. You gonna?
I want to watch you eat it. Of course I'm going to have one.
So see, Miriam remembers those jam biscuits. So Miriam, I love the recipe. I don't even remember who made them.
Oh my. They're not too sweet either. They're beautiful. Nutty. Yeah, really good.
So when you finish eating, we could have another song. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
just no. That, as I said, they're not your traditional rogala that are the twist that are the made, you know, in a roll. These are different.
Message from Miriam.
Ah. Okay,
Kurta.
Kurta used to have them. Okay. All right, if you can let Dunera know any more details, that would be amazing, because I've been looking for them for 20 years actually. These are great, really worth making, so please get baking and send your pictures into Dunera. I think I'm going to go and eat this, and I think you're ready for another song.
Lisa, thank you
Finale.
for another incredible show.
Thank you.
Lisa.
Thanks for
brilliant.
having me in your kitchen.
Oh, would you come back again? I actually love
Absolutely.
having you.
Thank
Your voice
you.
is beautiful.
Anytime. Thank you.
So much fun, so relaxed. Everyone at home, Lisa Goldberg, I love what you do. And also thank you to Dunera. So many things on, such a great way to keep entertained and share that sense of belonging. I am, talking about belonging, I'm going to go get my guitar,
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
And I'll come back and maybe you said something about Yiddish.
Yes, we're going to sing something in Yiddish.
And this is a
That's
song
a
that
surprise.
reminds me of my late dad, actually. And so every Sunday morning in my house in Melbourne, there would be this song playing throughout the house as we had our Melbourne Sunday morning breakfast of bagels from Blix and smoked salmon, and those were the days. So let me hand over to these artists who are going to share with you a bit of my childhood, funnily enough, and Mrs. Maisel.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes?
Just a little sound check. Can you guys hear that?
Yeah?
Can anyone guess what song this is?